Coach Kieran, thanks for the time and congratulations on clinching a playoff berth. We'll start with opening thoughts from each of you and then take questions.
Thanks, Grace. Hell of a lacrosse game. If I was a fan, I would really enjoyed that one. But I'm really proud of our guys. You know, they played so hard. Everybody's, you know, wondering what happened to our offense. These guys were fabulous today against a really good team and a really, really good goalie and the best face-off guy in the world. So there's a lot to be proud of, and there's a lot to review and try to do better. But the good news is we got another chance to do that. And so, you know, you got to get in. And that's the key is getting in. You know, we were 4-2 at one point, now 4-6. That's a little bit of a struggle. But the difference today compared to some parts of the last 3 weeks was just like night and day. I couldn't be more proud of our guys.
Yeah, I mean, anytime it's a win and in moment, you want to win, right? You want to come out there with a win. But that's a championship caliber team, and you know we were right down to the wire with them. And you know I think that you know as long we didn't win, but we got a little momentum and some things to look forward to going in the playoffs here.
Questions in the room?
Coach, another week where Jimmy Freehill hit a big two-pointer for you guys. It seemed like it really energized you. I think Kieran scored a couple seconds right after that. How has Jimmy kind of evolved into this offensive weapon for you? I'm not sure. Did you expect to see that from him, you know, coming from what you know of him from Denver?
It's a good question, and it's interesting. In this league, oftentimes people will say, you know, how come this guy doesn't do as well as we thought he was going to do? How come this guy's doing better than we thought he was going to? But the league, for a guy like Jimmy, brings around freedom. You know, he can be a little tougher. You know, they're not going to call as much stuff in this league. And certainly that arc, it's like, you know, it's like candy at Halloween, man. Those poles see that thing, and they start drooling. And they've been working on it. He's been working hard on it. And thankfully, he stuck one for us.
Kieran, you had 5 points today and led your team this season with 19 one-point goals. What allows you to keep doing it after all these years? And, Coach, what does that bring to your guys' offense?
I mean, the guys around me, right? Like, as I get older in this league, it's, you know, you got to find other ways to score and, you know, being a little bit more of an off-ball guy and a little less dodging. You know, just got to get separation from my guy on the inside, and you know, those guys will find me on the outside. So, you know, contribute to my teammates.
Yeah, so CJ led the team in scoring today with 6 points. Coach, what has he brought to the offense? And then Kieran, what's it been like playing with someone as dynamic as CJ?
Yes, I'll answer you in a second. Yes, but he didn't touch the ball in the fourth quarter, so I'm still trying to figure that one out. But, you know, listen, CJ is all we expected him to be and more. And when I say and more, what I mean is that Kieran and Mike, these are two world-class superstars with careers that are unmatched. To welcome CJ in is one thing, but to encourage him and support him the way these guys have, I know has allowed CJ to feel like he can be himself. Oftentimes, you know, you're seeing this with a few of these first-year guys. They don't seem to have a conscience, and that's a good thing because they're talented guys. So I think, you know, with CJ, the sky is the limit.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a blast playing with him, right? Like, he's an absolutely stud of a player, but I think just the energy he brings on the field, off the field, the person that he is in the locker room, like, he's just a complete package. You know, we're lucky to have him on the field and just as lucky to have him, you know, around our guys and in the locker room and things like that. Just a great human being.
Coach, you've had plenty of games where you've enjoyed having Trevor Baptiste on your team. Steph battled today, but Trevor, I think, you know, won the overall battle this afternoon. What is it like trying to game plan to handle somebody who can change a game like Trevor can?
You know, Trevor's the best there ever was, you know, and when you got guys like that on your side, they make people think you're a good coach. And so, By the way, Coach Press was a hell of a coach. My point on that is that he's just a warrior as his staff. He's just got, his experience showed up today. We had a game plan built in, and we got sloppy with the game plan a bunch of times defensively today. And certainly his 2 goals, we didn't follow the plan. So, but it's an individual thing. It's like, it's like trying to tell a team, don't let Kieran score, or don't let Mikey score, or CJ. You can plan all you want, but the level of competition that competitiveness, that guy brings, makes it difficult because of his surrounding cast. When you got some of those guys out there, you can't just triple team Trevor Baptiste, and then now you got to throw to 1, 7, 10, 26, 98, and so it's not just what he does; it's the effect he has on his team around him as well.
Other questions in the room? Questions on Zoom? Mike?
Yeah, for both of you, after the results of last season, what's it mean to you and the locker room to make the push into the playoffs now?
Everything, right? Like, this is why you play the game. After coming off that season last year, we had the goal, just like every year, of getting back to the playoffs and winning the championship. And we knew if we got in, we're a dangerous team. We have the guys in the locker room to win this thing again. So, we got our shot, and now we got to go with it.
Yeah, it's it was a long winter, and I think you're looking at the 2 guys who probably bemoaned it most of all. But it takes leadership, and Kieran has brought that. We made some changes in the lineup that were sometimes look really good, other times don't. We had a great draft class, and the idea is to improve, and we plan on improving. Not only next year and the year after, but next 2 weeks from now. And so, as I told them before the game, at the end of the day, you can be 8-2, 9-1, 10-0, or you can be 4-6. As long as you're there, and the way it's set up now, where the first place team just sits out, which is maybe the worst thing that can happen for them. We got another game in 2 weeks against one of 2 teams that we've beaten once and lost to once, and we're excited about that opportunity.
Garen, this one's for you. So this is your 4th back-to-back season with 30 points or more, and Jack looks great this season. Michael's stepping up as well. What have you and the other veterans done to cultivate a culture where guys like CJ, Jake Taylor, and Jimmy can come in and thrive and really feel a sense of ownership in the team's successes?
Yeah, I think just instill the confidence in those guys, right? Like, just let them know you guys belong here. You're here for a reason. Play your game, do your thing, right? And then, as leaders, we just stay, calm and collected and kind of lead that way. And those guys just, have been outstanding for us this season and, have stepped up in big ways.
Yeah, this is an all business league. This isn't like in college when a guy goes down or a guy gets beat out by a young guy. They're still on the team. They're still on the bench. They're still competing and having practices to try and get better. It's just cutthroat. The worst part of this job is Mondays where I got to call 6 guys and tell them they're not playing that week. And so. As you go through this, it's short term and it's long term, as Kier just talked about. And as long as you bring in people that the veterans like these guys recognize as being good people, hardworking like they are, and care like they do, then it's something to be proud of, but also something that you can look to the future. It's a young man's league. It's just the way it is. And the veterans who are able to stay in it do it because they're great players, but also because they take care of themselves, like Kieran does, and they just care a little bit more to keep that work ethic going.
Kyle?
Coach Kieran, this one's for both of you. Congratulations on clinching the playoffs. Kieran, you've won a championship with this organization. You've been to two, PLL championship games. You were in a Champ Series championship. You know what the grind is like and what it takes to come out on top and hoist that trophy. Coach, you've done it at the collegiate level. As a captain, Kieran, what are some things that you're going to relay to Coach Tierney during this run for the playoffs to kind of prepare him for the PLL postseason and the grind that it is? And Coach, what are some things that you're going to rely on your veterans who have been there before to kind of teach you what you need to, bring to the table? And Kieran, what are also some things you want to take from Coach with his success at the collegiate level and competing for championships at that level?
Yeah, I think it starts out by remaining true to who we are, right? Like we're a hard-nosed team. We stick together, we play together. We got a great locker room, and that translates on the field. So I think first and foremost, just staying true to who we are. I think we definitely got to get back to the film and look at a few things. But like I said, we put up 19 today, so. That's a good thing for our offense as we get into the playoffs. And Coach's leadership and how many championships he's won, he's been there, so he's going to remain our even keel and push us to be the best players that we can be, and we're going to continue to roll with that.
Yeah, I can tell you, I've learned so much in 2 years. You get to be my age in all these years, and people ask me, why do you do this? And here's why I do it. Sitting next to me and the people in that locker room, because even with the losses, even with the disappointment that you have, this group of guys, this league, games like today, just remind you of those championships in that they're very fragile. They're very fragile. And games like today are a championship game because one goal either way, one mistake either way by a player on our team or their team means the difference. And so, I can't call back to 1992 and say, okay, we'll do this, this, and this, and we'll win a championship. I rely on these guys, and these guys have taught me so much about how to get this team in position mentally more than physically. They're all physical specimens to be ready for a game like today and hopefully for a couple more to come.
Last question, Mike.
Yeah, Coach, Matt Witcher had 3 caused turnovers today. Defensively, you guys let up 20 points, but still the defense caused 11. During your pregame speech, you said for the team just to hustle on every play. How would you assess their play today?
Yeah, I think when you play a team like this, they're so skilled that you know that you have to play your best kind of individually. Now, I think we made, too many mistakes, you give up 20 goals, that there's something wrong there. But on the other hand, the effort that these guys put in today was beyond anything that we've put out in my 2 years here. They wanted this thing so badly, and it's a weird feeling. It's like asking on Christmas for a blue bike and you're pissed off because it's red, but you still got a bike. And so we're going to ride this thing for a couple of weeks and play somebody that we know we can beat, play somebody that we know can beat us, and as Kieran said, correct some of the mistakes we made and just try our best to reignite the kind of effort that was out here today.
Thank you both. See you in Minneapolis.
Thank you.
Coach, Connor, Trevor, congrats on the win. We'll start with opening thoughts from each of you and then take questions.
The captain.
I think that was the highest scoring game in PLL history, but just so pumped that we came out with a win there. I think that we were in a really good situation going into that game, but just it came down to the wire and we stayed tough. And to be going up and down like that all day, I think it was really impressive. It was really impressive, and happy that we hung in there and got it done.
Yeah, really fun game to be a part of. When it's that high scoring, it takes everybody to get a win like that, and I think everybody stepped up. We really needed all 19, and those are the fun ones when everyone has a piece in it.
Obviously we knew we were going to get the Waterdogs, A game. We knew we were in. They were fighting to get in, and just to win this game, the last game of the year. Coming off a one-goal overtime loss against the Outlaws. I mean, so good for our psyche, our confidence going into a 3-week, kind of bye here as we get ready for the semis. So proud of our guys. Same situation we were, a year ago. 7-3 Eastern Conference, champs here. But thrilled for some time off here, especially for the guys to my left.
Questions?
You guys started a little bit slow. You started down 4-1, and then a 7-0 run kind of turned this game on and turned it into kind of the race that it was. What do you think triggered kind of the early part of that run and allowed you to keep kind of building up to this point where you were up 8-4?
Well, I would just say from my point of view, it was Trevor at the face-off X. Once Trev gets going, and this is one of his, we've been together 3 years now, in the stage, one of his best games, I think, from top to bottom. On so many different levels, scoring 2. We were playing a lot of defense actually at 4-1, and then Trev turned that around, and 4-1 turns into 8-4, and that started and ended with our success, I think, at the face-off X.
So as Trevor mentioned, it was the highest scoring PLL game in history. At what point did you realize that maybe you need 20 to win this game or even more?
I don't think we really thought about it like that, like what number you need to get to. I think it was just us staying at it. I think it started to go blow for blow there at the end there. And I think, like Coach's point, like, I think it's just so big for us to pull a win out on that, and especially a game that is that high scoring, and you're going back and forth, and for us to just get that done, I think that's a great, comma to the end of the regular season,
Trevor, you were 72% today with 18 ground balls. What allows you to be so productive? Also, can you talk us through what it's like scoring your second goal with so much defensive pressure on you there?
Yeah, I think that, like, this year it's just been settling in on the whistle for me. I think that, like, the face-off is something that's continuing to evolve in this league, and I think that it's always a challenge for us all to kind of get locked in on what's going on out there. I think today, like, that was a big point for us going in, and I think on the wings we just really we made some great plays and some tough ground balls. Shout out to Reed, unbelievable game, and also just picking the ball off the ground. Jake Stevens had some great ground balls. Danny playing tough. Michael Grace, pushing transition. Also, like, bouncing the field in that, when you can occupy your guy, it opens things up for other people to pick up the ball and get the ball forward, especially with that 32-second shot clock. It's really important. So, to the point of the goal, like, I think it's just, you just got to play fast. I think you get down to the heart of the defense, like, you just got to get something on.
For all you guys, the 2-point shot was a big part of today's game. Brian hit one in that early run. Like you said, Michael hit one to go from 11-11 to put you guys up by 2. And then later, Waterdogs hit a 2 to tie the game at 14. They hit a 2 late to get back within 1. What is it like managing the emotions of we hit one and it's going to energize us versus they hit one and we need to find a way to rally because they've just been sparked by a 2-point goal?
I'm not sure if the guys can back me up here or not. There's any real rhyme or reason to it. it's just it's such a chaotic game, and a bad shot, a deep turnover on offense. Now they get out over the top, and now you're in the trail in transition, and you got those guys behind the play that are stepping in, like Connor Kelly or Michael Grace and that kind of thing. So, we try to make sure there's no odd man rush going against us, but when there is, and there's trailers, there's guys on every team who can hit those. And, we've not necessarily been a 2-point team, but today, those twos today were just, critical to getting it done.
Questions on Zoom? Paul?
Hey, Coach. Congrats on the win. You have a 3-week period until the playoffs. Do you plan on practicing anytime within this time frame just to keep the team together and trying to run through some stuff?
I think first we're going to take this week off. I'm going to set up some individual calls with everybody on the roster and catch up with the guys individually and privately. No team call, no meet this week. And then week 2, get back on schedule, a Zoom kind of debrief this game, look ahead to, potential opponents on Labor Day, and then get back into our routine in the final week. But to answer your question, I believe the league is set up for the Outlaws and the Atlas to practice, 2 weeks from this weekend during the Minneapolis quarterfinal weekend. And, it's we're going to practice, I was told, where and what time, certainly up in the air.
Kyle?
Yeah, for all of you guys, Michael Grace today became the 4th long pole in PLL history to record 10-plus points in a season. He joined Michael Earhart, Jared Newman, and Jake Pacino, who did it this year as well. He's only played 8 games for you guys as well. Joined you guys in Philadelphia this year in June. Can you just talk about how he's revolutionized that LSM close D, wherever you guys seem to plug him in, he seems to find success. Can you just talk about the addition he's been this year for you guys and how he's kind of transformed, the way you guys push transition and are able to kind of just move the ball as effectively as you guys are able to?
Trev?
Yeah, I think Michael Grace has been unbelievable. I think what's really impressive about him is, you would never know that he's a rookie. I think, the confidence that he brings, but also just, the IQ and awareness. And I think that shows in his game and that he's a player. He can play. He understands what's going on all aspects of the field. He's so great with his matchup. I think it spoke to it a lot on the wings as well. He's very high level IQ, which has been such a great addition to our team. And he's so talented with the ball. He can carry the ball and push transition, and he can shoot in tight. He can shoot at range. So he's been a huge addition to our team.
Dre?
All right, so Coach, this is for you. So Brian Costabile is one of the biggest ambidextrous threats on the field, and today he also finished with his highest point total since the 2021 season. Was there anything that took place that has created this opportunity for him to thrive on the team, especially a team that has so many offensive threats?
Brian has been an all-star the entire year. I thought he's had a great year, a very consistent year. When you think of our midfield, I think the opposition looks at 26, the guy they got to pull, they got to stop. And for Brian to have such a successful year offensively, knowing the teams are game planning against him like they do, is just kudos to him. Another 2-bomb again, hit one, split to the middle, got to his left hand, increased his angle, a bunch of other stuff going on too. And then plus, the thing about Brian that separates him, he's a great two-way guy. He's an excellent wing player with Trevor and his crew, and he's also an outstanding defender. So he's a true two-way midi, and maybe doesn't get enough credit for all the other things he does for us. But he's been so consistent offensively, through 10 games.
Zach?
Hey, Trevor. Connor finished the season with 46 points. He had 7 today. Just how would you describe his season?
I think it's an MVP season. I think it's pretty cemented. I think that it's been so great to watch him dominate, and really step into his game, and just take the take the team and offense by storm, you know, and you know, I think a lot of times it could be taken for granted, all of the great plays he's making with the ball, without the ball. He's been big for us all season, and, you know, he's my MVP for sure.
Thank you all. We'll see you in Philadelphia.